talks to and even running around. Apparently, I look at you and I think, oh, something wrong with people running around.
So sorry, and that is usually the case if we are moving.
Yeah.
But trying to move to solve the problem.
I know. I
So we
get it.
can
I get it.
move
You're doing a good
along.
job. What time we got? How many?
I do know that.
So when, you can come on in a minute, and then we'll just have everybody kind of stand on the other. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. How are you, ladies?
Good, how are you?
My friends ask me about you all the time.
Really?
Yes, they do. So you do a very good job.
Thank you so much. It's a team effort, so we appreciate
And they
that.
don't know
Thank
that
you.
it's a team.
Oh,
But I tell
really? Yeah? I can't do it without her, so.
That will be a part of it.
Yep, we have 1 minute. You guys want to move over here for the different X's?
All in?
Where do you like us to stand?
On that side. Pick an X that you like over there. And,
I don't want to be in the middle of you two tall guys, so.
I know, everybody will be off camera.
There we go.
Is that good, Rebecca?
Perfect. We still have 1 more minute.
We're off camera, right?
You are.
That I can make a facial expression because you wouldn't see it anyway.
Exactly.
are you ready? Okay, ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us here today. Today I'm pleased to be joined by Randa Coniglio, who is the President and CEO of the Port of San Diego. Our Police Chief joins us today, Chief David Nislight, and of course our Lifeguard Chief, Chief James Gartland, will be talking about everything that's been happening in a really good way out on our beaches today. Today I'm going to talk on the following updates. First, a reminder to all San Diegans related to physical distancing, especially at our beaches. Second, I'm going to talk a little bit about the strong progress on our Small Business Relief Fund. Third, an update on COVID-19 testing at the Convention Center. And lastly, of course, I will highlight what San Diegans are continuing to do to step up in this time of great need. Topic 1, of course, is an update on the first day of our partial beach openings. I will tell you, this past weekend I asked San Diegans to follow all of the public health rules in anticipation of this morning. I am happy to report you stayed classy, San Diego. Very well done so far. When we've seen other beaches across the U.S. have reopened, you saw, unfortunately, pandemonium in some of those. Today, the nation saw San Diego acting like America's finest city. It's because people took it seriously. And I'm going to have our lifeguard chief give us an update. Our lifeguards and our police department were out in force today, really from an educational perspective, interacting with the public. Here's what they saw. The day started, of course, with lots of surfers, and people really doing a great job. A couple areas were a little crowded, thinned out right away in terms of the water. Big thank you to everybody in our surfing community who got the word out, particularly over the weekend and all day today. Hey, let's do the right thing in the water. Let's keep that social distancing. To see the smiles that we saw on a lot of the families that went out there today that hadn't been out in the water surfing, it was great to see. We saw people walking and jogging. We did not see people hanging out on the beach. That's a good thing. Folks were physically distancing. It is a good start. Today was a start. Today is the first day. So we have to keep it up if we want to continue the progress and eventually move into phase 2 at our beaches and our bays. I want to again thank our lifeguards in terms of who came up with a lifeguard specific plan based on phasing with really two goals. What is what we should be doing first in terms of public safety as we tune to lighten it up a little bit? Public safety for the folks that are using the beach, and public safety for our first responders and our lifeguards that are out there helping to protect people. They know better than any of us in terms of what needed to be done to allow this safely in the various phases. And a big thank you to our health professionals who worked all the way along on this plan. A reminder of what these rules are. On the sand, you can run and walk, but you cannot stop, you cannot sit, or you cannot lie down. In the ocean, of course, you can swim, surf, paddleboard, and kayak. And in the bays, you can paddleboard and kayak. I'm going to have Randa Caniglo talk a little bit about San Diego Bay. Where do we go from here? We will decide. That will be in cooperation with our public health officials. I will tell you, today was a good start. Today was a good day. This weekend will be a real test as well, as we have some folks that who are working. We do not want overcrowding. We cannot have that. And as I said before, all of the precautions and the fact that San Diegans took it so seriously, thank you. We do not want to give back the gains that we have sacrificed so hard. We do not want to see beaches crowded. That's what led to their closure in the first place. So we will keep monitoring. I will keep monitoring, taking impact every single day from our public safety officials, and we will take additional actions accordingly. So we are continuing to ask the public's cooperation. Your communication and your patience was on strong display today. It was very, very encouraging. Please continue this compliance. For us to continue doing the right thing, we need everybody to do the right thing. Let's not go backwards. Let's not give up the gains. Before I introduce our public safety professionals, I did want to introduce Randa Caniglio, who joins us. As I mentioned, she's the president and CEO of the Port of San Diego. The Port was very instrumental, again, to making sure that we had a beaches and bays policy developed by all of our public safety professionals. Randa, to you and your team at the Port, thank you for all that you are doing. I'll let you come up and say a few words.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mayor, and good afternoon to everyone out there who's tuned in. For those of you who are not familiar, the Port of San Diego is one of many public agencies that share responsibility on and around San Diego's Big Bay. The Port's jurisdiction includes 34 miles of the San Diego Bay waterfront, which includes the shoreline and public areas along Point Loma, Shelter Island, Harbor Island, the Embarcadero, Barrio Logan, National City, Chula Vista, Imperial Beach, and Coronado. The Port's Harbor Police Department protects public safety on San Diego Bay and around the bayfront. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 health crisis, our focus and priority has been on public health and safety. We're following and enforcing the public health orders and guidance from our local, state, and federal public health agencies. We're also coordinating closely with our partners at the City of San Diego and other coastal cities in our region. Closing the public parks, beaches, and bays, including San Diego Bay and parks along our waterfront, was done to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. And reopening and easing restrictions will be done slowly and carefully because public health and safety are still our top priority. We're not out of this yet, and as a community and as neighbors, we all need to work together so we don't see a spike in new cases. While we've eased some restrictions in alignment with the county's latest amended public health order, that doesn't mean that the threat of COVID-19 is over. It's important to remember that the activities now allowed on San Diego Bay, which includes swimming, paddleboarding, and kayaking, along with walking, biking, or cycling along the waterfront, are allowed only for individual recreation and exercise, or only with members of your own household. It's also important to remember that even healthy individuals can infect others. People without any symptoms who've been exposed to the virus can expose and infect others. Your responsibility is not only for your own health, it's also for the health of everyone around you. That's part of what it means when we say we're all in this together. It's what it means to be a member of a community. Further opening the parks, bays, and beaches will depend on how well we practice our social and physical distancing and on the ongoing monitoring of the COVID-19 cases and county health orders and guidance. When the county health order is amended to allow recreational boating, the port will open San Diego Bay to recreational boating. And because recreational boating is not currently allowed and the piers and parks are still closed, recreational fishing is only allowed from your kayak at this time. If an activity is not specifically named as an allowable activity, it's most likely not allowed at this time. A list of frequently asked questions that pertain to the bay and the shoreline can be found at portofsandiego.org, and I encourage you to check the website. Some San Diegans have lost their lives. Many San Diegans have lost loved ones. San Diegans are making great sacrifices and putting themselves at risk to care for COVID-19 patients and families or to keep all of our basic needs met. Many San Diegans remain at risk. We'd all like to get back to all the coastal activities we love, and we're all so fortunate to have that access as part of Southern California coastal living. But let's be patient and remember that COVID-19 remains a serious public health issue. Thank you very much, and thanks again, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Randa. Thank you for all the work that everybody at the Port of San Diego is doing. Next up, I'd like to have our police chief, Chief Dave Nislike, come up and give us a briefing on today's activities down at the beach. Chief?
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. As the mayor was saying, I know a lot of people were very excited about the beach opening today and what we saw at the beach, and I want to say thank you to San Diegans. Is for the most part, everybody followed the rules. People enjoyed the water. A lot of people got in and surfed and swam. People were using the coastline to either walk or jog, and so great job on that, but this is not the time to become complacent. I ask you to, again, to make certain that we're still following the physical distancing rules and make certain that you're following the rules. You'll see a lot of police officers teamed up along with our lifeguards that will be out educating folks. Again, as a reminder, our piers, our boardwalks, and our parking lots are still closed during this time. So really all you can do is access the beach to either get into the water or walk or jog along the coastline, or shoreline, I should say. So really need people to cooperate and be one big team, and the sooner we can do that, again, we move on to phase 2, which takes away some of those restrictions again. So I appreciate everybody's hard work, more hard work to do. Again, it's about collaboration and cooperation and teamwork to get us to the next phase. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. A special shout out to all of our beach team officers that were out on the beaches this weekend. Today we'll be out all weekend as well. They're out there for a reason, to making sure that we're enforcing the rules and that everybody does the right thing. And so far, as I said, today was a good start. Next up is our lifeguard chief. Before I introduce Chief Gartland once again, Chief, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your work with our other lifeguard agencies up and down the coast here in San Diego County to develop a public safety-oriented plan. And thank you to all of our lifeguards that are out there, again, doing the right thing, representing the best of our city. So Chief Gartland, an update from you on today's activities, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The day started with some large water crowds, but then thinned out, as the mayor said. We got great compliance from the beach community and the surf community in San Diego. The lifeguards made 7 water rescues today, so we're out there in full effect, and the beaches are safe. We are still seeing a little bit of troubled spots with the boardwalks and some of the pocket beaches, so we still need your compliance. What I would like to remind everybody is that the stay-at-home order is still in place. So the access is for you to come down, run, walk, surf, swim, get your exercise, and then head back home and comply with that stay-at-home order. But San Diego has done a great job today. We're seeing great compliance so far. Like I said, a little crowds early, but it has thinned out and things are going very well. So thank you all for your cooperation. It is inspiring, and keep up the good work. We need this to last. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Again, thank you for your work and all of our lifeguards and everybody at our fire rescue department. Second topic today is an update on our small business relief fund. We crossed a milestone in terms of donations last week. $500,000 in private donations has been contributed. That puts us at nearly $7 million raised so far in between public and private dollars. Thank you, San Diegans, for stepping up. Thank you in our private business community, showing your generosity and your support for our local small businesses, which are and is the backbone of our city's economy. I particularly want to thank Union Bank, the Endeavor Forever Foundation, Bequest Foundation, Deloitte, Carlton Management Incorporated, and an anonymous donor of $50,000. These donations are making a huge difference for small businesses and people who are in need, who need this financial support. So if you have the means to donate and you want to help, please visit sandiego.gov/coronavirus for more information. Topic number 3, an update on COVID-19 tests at the San Diego Convention Center. On Saturday, 2 individuals staying at the emergency shelter that we've established at the Convention Center were notified that they tested positive for COVID-19. Both individuals are now isolated in the public health motels managed by the County of San Diego. We've done more than 660 tests have been administered. Obviously, about 99% of those are negative. We do expect individuals to test positive, as I've talked about, in terms of the whole reason we're doing testing is to locate any asymptomatic individuals, because anybody that actually has outward signs or symptoms is removed. It's been very diligent. I want to thank all of the providers down there. Due to all of the public safety measures that we've taken, the risk for exposure for others is very low. We want to keep it that way. We're going to continue to be very vigilant in testing and cleanliness, reminding all residents that are in the convention center and staff and volunteers, washing their hands regularly. That's just what happens there. That's how we operate. Everybody wearing a face mask. As I said, if somebody exhibits any symptoms or feels sick, they are removed, and all of the testing continues. Resumed this morning, and we will have more updates in the coming days. Thank you again to the Lucky Duck Foundation, providing the dollars to making sure that everybody in that environment is tested to keep it safe, which is what it is. Finally, topic number 4 today, our continued efforts to highlight individuals in San Diego that step up in our great time of need. Today's Step Up story is about the creative way that several San Diegans chose to thank all of those working long shifts at the local hospitals to battle COVID-19. Phil, a Marine Corps veteran, wanted to show his appreciation for our healthcare professionals, including his wife, Jill, and she works as a radiology nurse. He wanted to say thanks while maintaining a 6-foot distance, of course, and Phil is a pilot, so he reached out to a few of his pilot friends and put together a plan. On Friday, Phil and his friends, as you can see, put that plan into action and conducted a flyover to salute our workers and our healthcare workers at all of our hospitals. The pilots represented several organizations, including San Diego Salute Formation, Antique Aircraft Association, and the Allen Airways Flying Museum. They flew with special banners, thanking healthcare workers, and they even performed a few stunts to keep folks entertained. So Phil, to you and your pals, thank you. Thank you for bringing just a little bit of joy to all of those workers who are working so very tirelessly to care for San Diegans. And thank you, of course, to Air Traffic Control for arranging flight patterns for commercial and military flights to make that special thank you a reality. I share this as a reminder of folks that are continuing to help out, thanking all of our first responders, every San Diegan that's doing a great job, and in this case, our healthcare and hospital workers who are doing a remarkable job. All of these acts of kindness, whether they're big or whether they're small, make a huge difference. So thank you. If you see somebody who's stepping up, please share it with us and use the hashtag #SanDieganStepsUp. Thank you again, San Diegans, for your compliance today out on the shoreline. We absolutely need to keep it up. We will ensure that that is kept up with our police department and our lifeguards. That will allow us to move to the next step. We will get through this by continuing to work as one city together. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions from members of the media.
The first question for today comes from Justina Myers with Fox 5.
Hello, Justina.
Justina's question was, do you anticipate any impacts to San Diego's housing crisis? Can he please touch upon how the city is expanding the digital permitting process to keep construction on pace?
No, great question, and thank you. Construction is on pace, and that's incredibly important because I agree with the premise of your question. We have to keep housing production going. And so all of the work that we are doing and some of the changes and the reforms that we continue to make, whether digital, online, which you mentioned, to cut regulations to allow us to get the housing that San Diegans need, what we've done on parking, granny flats, everything we're doing on our community update plans, designed with one goal. How do we get more housing created quicker so San Diegans can get that housing and ensure that it's housing that San Diegans can afford? We are going to continue all of those reforms that you mentioned on digital and others. Next question.
And the next question is from Lindsay Winkley with the Union Tribune.
Hello, Lindsay.
Hi, Mayor Faulconer.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Last week, when you announced the regional plan to reopen beaches, you suggested that all cities were kind of ready to implement that plan once the county modified its public health order. You also stressed that all cities would be putting this plan into place together. But it's clear at this point that some cities were not ready to move forward. So can you help me understand a bit why you felt all cities were ready to reopen their beaches and why the city chose to move forward even though some cities weren't ready?
Oh, great. And really it was thank you for the question, a tremendous amount of work, again, that started with all of the lifeguards in all of the different cities and then coastal mayors. And the real focus was on the how. How do we do it? Not necessarily the when. As we said, we were going to leave that up to our county public health professionals. And so the how, agreeing on all of the phasing, the things that we put into place today, I think really, as you saw that in other cities across the county that did open up, that were prepared, were ready, had all of their staffing ready to go, that how was one singular policy. And that was our goal from the very beginning. I know we have a couple cities that I think are waiting on a couple staffing issues. But to see the cities from South County, obviously us in San Diego, Encinitas, on up the coast, it showed that working together was incredibly important to have one policy. And I'm very grateful to all of the coastal mayors that put this policy in place, that agreed to it, to get that unanimous approval. I think it served us well.
Okay, thank you.
And the next question comes from Ashley Solomon with the La Jolla Light.
Hello, Ashley.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor. What will be the requirements on face coverings at beaches and in the ocean as of Friday, May 1st, and how will they be enforced?
Yeah, no, the county order will be coming out, already is out, obviously, on facial coverings. That will be countywide, out in public. And as I mentioned earlier when we talked about it on Friday, I think it was important to have a consistent countywide policy, so you don't have different jurisdictions doing different things. Just like we came up with a policy on the beaches. That makes all the sense in the world. And so that will take effect on May 1st. It obviously will be up to all of the individual jurisdictions and cities to enforce that. But our police department will be out there reminding folks, as they always do, with an educational posture of what the rules are. And we're going to expect San Diegans to comply with that as well.
And the last question comes from Mary Plummer with iNewsSource. With the first Budget Review Committee meeting set to kick off on Thursday, can you talk more about the details of the cuts to infrastructure and what those cuts mean to you personally, given that this has been a top priority during your time as mayor?
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. The budget that we released last week, or I should say updated last week, had some reductions, and reductions in a lot of areas that I think all of us care deeply about. I will tell you, when it comes to infrastructure, we're going to continue on infrastructure, particularly in our street repairs. We've made that progress in terms of paving more miles of road than we ever had in the city. That is going to continue. A lot of our capital projects are going to continue. The work we've done on new fire stations, new libraries, really infrastructure has been a hallmark for myself, but also members of the council whose help and support has known how important that was. Perhaps you're referring to the amount is a little bit lower, but that was probably because last year we put so much money up front into pure water. We won't have some of those expenses this year in infrastructure, but we will have a very healthy and robust infrastructure budget, again, with a particular emphasis on road repair, because that is incredibly important. We've made so many strides in that area. And by the time that this year ends, my goal was to actually repave about half of the miles of the road in the entire city during my administration. We are absolutely on track to do that, and we will do that. I think that's our last question. Again, I want to thank all the members of the media, thank our police department, our lifeguards for being out there, Randa, everybody out at the port. Thank you. Thank you, San Diegans. Keep up the good work. We need this to continue. More up tomorrow. Thank you.